Hey, how'd it go with the client call?
I'm sorry. I totally dropped the ball. I forgot to send the report.
Really? Well, we really need you to step up to the plate at the meeting later today.
I will. I promise. I already called an audible and switched the agenda around.
Okay, let's hope you hit it out of the park.
I always do.
That wasn't ESPN. That was a real office conversation. In American workplaces, people use sports idioms all the time without even thinking about it. So if you've ever heard phrases like drop the ball, call an audible, or step up to the plate and thought, what in the world are they talking about? You're not alone. In this video, we're going to break down 20 of the most common sports idioms used in business English, where they come from, what they mean, and how to use them naturally. We'll look at phrases from American football, baseball, and other sports like boxing and tennis. I'll give you examples, dialogues, and there's even a free PDF guide with more examples and practice problems that you can download below. Let's start with 5 idioms from American football, which it's kind of like rugby, but with more rules and more rest periods. The basic idea, one team tries to get the ball to the other end of the field to score, while the other team tries to stop them, usually by tackling them or stealing the ball. That brings us to our first idiom, fumble or drop the ball. In football, a fumble happens when a player drops the ball and loses it, giving the other team a chance to score. In business, we use it the same way. If you had a simple task or responsibility and you messed it up, someone might say you fumbled it or that you dropped the ball. For example, he completely fumbled the presentation by showing up late and unprepared. Now, it's important to note we usually use this idiom when the task is easy or routine. If it was something super difficult or unexpected, people don't usually say you fumbled it. Think about it like this. If you're running, holding a ball, not dropping it is pretty easy. In football, each play starts and stops, then the teams reset and make a new plan. But sometimes, just before the play starts, the coach yells out a new plan at the last second. This is called calling an audible. In business, we use this to describe a last-minute change or an improvised decision. For example, after the tariffs were announced, we had to call an audible and reroute our production through Mexico. It's a quick, flexible decision, not a big change, just a small one. One of the most dramatic plays in football is the Hail Mary. Yes, like the prayer. When a team is running out of time and far from the end zone, they make one desperate throw and hope for a miracle. In business, a Hail Mary is a risky, last-minute effort when everything else has failed. For example, the startup spent their last $5,000 on a viral ad campaign. It was a total Hail Mary. It might not work, but sometimes it's your only shot. Speaking of scoring, the area at the end of the field is called the end zone, but just before that is called the goal line. And if a team is on the goal line, it means that they're inches away from scoring. So in business, we use this when a project or deal is almost done. For example, we're on the goal line with this product launch. Let's push it and finish by Friday. You may also hear people say that we're on the 5-yard line, the 2-yard line, the 1-yard line. This all means the same thing. Very close to finishing. Finally, let's talk about defense. When the quarterback is looking downfield, he usually can't see what's coming from behind. So if someone tackles him from the side he can't see, we call this getting blindsided. So in business, getting blindsided means to be hit by something that is unexpected or something that we're not prepared for. For example, we were blindsided when the CFO suddenly quit. It's a surprise and usually not a good one. All right, we've covered 5 key idioms from American football, but what do they sound like in a real conversation? Let's take a look at a quick dialogue between 2 coworkers using all of these phrases in context. Bad news. We were on the 1-yard line with this order, and the supplier completely fumbled it.
Yeah, we got completely blindsided on that one.
I know. This morning, I had to call an audible, change the delivery plan, complete mess.
Honestly, it's kind of a Hail Mary at this point, but we pulled it off before.
True. Let's not drop the ball again, okay?
Don't worry.
Now, let's talk about baseball. Another sport Americans are crazy about. And for that reason, we have a ton of baseball idioms. So if you don't know the rules of baseball, here's a quick summary. One player, the batter, stands at home plate and tries to hit the ball thrown by the pitcher. If he does hit it, he runs around a diamond-shaped field, touching 4 bases, and if he makes it all the way back to home plate, his team scores the point. But if the defense catches the ball and gets it to a base before the runner is out. Most baseball idioms come from batting because it's the most exciting part of the game. Let's start with the best possible result, a home run. That's when the batter hits the ball so hard that it flies over the fence and out of the field. In business, a home run means a major success, something that goes perfectly. You might also hear the phrase, hit it out of the park, which means the same thing, but it's even more impressive. For example, how was her speech at the conference? She hit it out of the park. At the end, everyone stood up and cheered. But before you hit a home run, you first need to step up to the plate. In baseball, that means walking up to the batting area and getting ready to hit. In business, it means accepting a new challenge or responsibility. Maybe your manager is sick and you have to lead the training session. That's you stepping up to the plate. It's a common phrase in feedback from managers. Thanks, John, for stepping up to the plate and finishing the project. And a lot of people would just say step up because it's much easier. But stepping up doesn't always mean that you'll succeed. Sometimes you strike out. And in baseball, that happens when a batter swings and misses 3 times. They're out and they have to walk back to the bench in shame. So in everyday English, to strike out means that you failed or got rejected. For example, I pitched my idea to 3 investors, but no one was interested. I totally struck out. But it can also be used outside of business. For example, he tried to flirt with the girl at the bar, but he struck out. He got rejected. But striking out doesn't mean you didn't try. In fact, sometimes we say someone went down swinging. In baseball, there are 2 ways to strike out. Either you don't swing at a good pitch or you swing and miss. And going down swinging means the second one, fighting until the end. For example, the company went bankrupt, but the founder went down swinging. He was trying to save the company till the very end. It's a lot like the expression, not going down without a fight. Let's finish the baseball section with 3 more idioms that don't require you to know much about the game itself. They've taken on a life of their own in business English. First one, to go to bat for someone. In baseball, if you're up to bat, you're taking a risk for your team. You could score or you could strike out. So when someone goes to bat for you, it means they're defending you or supporting you, usually when you're in trouble or under big pressure. For example, after I missed a deadline, my manager went to bat for me and explained the situation to the client. It's often used in professional settings when someone sticks their neck out to protect someone else, whether it's a teammate, employee, or friend. And to stick your neck out just means to take a risk. Next, the ballpark. That's what Americans call a baseball stadium. It's a huge, beautiful, open space. So if someone asks you for a ballpark estimate, they're not asking for precision. They want a rough idea, more or less. Something that's in the general range, but not exact. For example, we don't have the final numbers yet, but I'd ballpark our monthly revenue is around $200,000. Or can you ballpark how long this task will take? It's a great way to answer when you're still working out the details or to avoid committing to something too specific. And finally, let's talk about left field. In baseball, left field is far from the action. So if something comes out of left field, it means it was unexpected, unusual, or even a little weird. It's not always negative. Sometimes a left field idea is just surprising or creative. You can even use it to soften a bold suggestion. For example, this might be a little out of left field, but what if we offered the course in Spanish too? It's a subtle way to say this idea is a little bit wild, but hear me out. Now that you've seen how baseball influences our business vocabulary, let's bring a few of those expressions to life in a short dialogue. Hey, that pitch to a new client this morning, completely out of left field, but absolutely genius. Great job.
We really went down swinging.
Yeah, hey, well, you definitely stepped up to the plate. I appreciate it.
Hopefully that proposal is a home run.
Hope so. Let's go ahead and make a ballpark budget while we wait. Now that we've covered idioms from baseball and football, let's switch it up with 6 more sports phrases that show up all the time in the business world, from boxing to tennis to long distance running. These are all common in business conversations, and most of them don't require much sports knowledge at all. First up is to throw in the towel. This one comes from boxing. If a coach sees that their fighter is getting beat up and has no chance of winning, they'll throw the towel into the ring to stop the fight. It's a way of saying, we give up. In English, when someone throws in the towel, it means they're quitting or giving up, often after a tough struggle. You'll hear this often in motivational speeches. Don't throw in the towel. You're closer than you think. So it's used to motivate someone when they're on the edge of quitting. Next, from the world of track and field, we have jump the gun. Now, in track races, runners are supposed to wait for the starting gun, but sometimes someone moves a little early and gets disqualified. That's called jumping the gun. In business, we use it when someone acts too soon without waiting for the right moment. For example, if you start asking about vacation days 5 minutes into a job interview, you're jumping the gun. It's about impatience or just simply poor timing. Now, let's switch to tennis for the phrase, the ball is in your court. If you've ever watched tennis, you know one player serves and the other player has to respond. So if the ball is in your court, it's your turn to respond. We use this when you've done your job and now it's up to someone else, especially in a negotiation. For example, we submitted the permit request to the city last week and now the ball is in their court. We just have to wait. Next, from fishing, we get the expression on the hook and its opposite, off the hook. So when you catch a fish, the hook is the metal thing that keeps the fish from escaping. I guess. That's where the phrase comes from. So in business, if you're on the hook, it means you're responsible for something, especially a mistake or a financial issue. For example, our delivery driver hit a customer's car, so now we're on the hook for the repair costs. But if you manage to avoid responsibility or someone else takes the blame, then you're off the hook. I was supposed to lead the meeting, but my boss jumped in at the last minute, so I got off the hook. Let's move back to baseball for one moment. Now, there's a kid's version of baseball called T-ball. It's slower, easier, and much more forgiving for kids. But the regular version of baseball is sometimes called hardball. And when someone says they're playing hardball, it means just the opposite. So this is fast, tough, and competitive baseball. In business, playing hardball means being aggressive in negotiations or strategy. For example, they refuse to lower the price or negotiate. They're really playing hardball. This phrase often describes people who are firm, uncompromising, and maybe even a bit unreasonable. And finally, from the world of long distance running, we get the phrase, go the extra mile. It means to do more than expected, to push further, and to give extra effort. In the workplace, people who go the extra mile stand out and are typically rewarded. For example, Sarah went the extra mile to impress the client. She personalized the entire proposal and stayed late to practice. Managers love this phrase. It's a common way to praise someone who goes above and beyond. Before we wrap up, here's a final challenge. I'm going to show you a quick dialogue using a mix of idioms from across the video. I want you to see how many you recognize. I'm not going to lie. The campaign kind of struck out. I dropped the ball on this one.
Yeah, but at least we went down swinging. I'd rather try and fail than not try at all.
Yeah, but the CEO is ready to throw in the towel. He says we're burning too much capital. You know how it goes.
Ooh, but did you tell her we're on the goal line with a new version?
Yeah, I did. I even called an audible, switched around the messaging at the last minute, but you know how he is. We'll have to wait and see.
Let's go the extra mile on this one. Polish the deck, tighten up the script. If we're going to pitch this again, we got to hit it out of the park.
And there you have it, 20 sports idioms that will help you sound more fluent, more confident, and more natural at work. These phrases show up all the time in meetings, emails, interviews, and casual office conversations. So now you'll recognize them and know how to use them. If you want to review or practice later, be sure to grab the free PDF in the description. It includes all the idioms, more examples, and some practice problems so you can test yourself. So let me know down in the comments which idiom was new for you. Which idioms do you hear in the workplace? And if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.